Presenting your one-stop shop for SEO and virtual assistant services. SEO, GMB, link building, content creation, web design, virtual assistants, and more. Rank Fortress SEO and VA Agency. Enjoy 40 to 70 off for our services. Rank Fortress SEO and VA Agency. The best white label platform for SEOs, agencies, and freelancers.
Hey guys, my name is William. Glad to have you here. In today's video, we're going to go over virtual assistants, myths, misconceptions, what people think about when they are thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, that sort of thing. My name is William, and I have over 20 years of SEO experience. I actually live in the Philippines and run a agency, SEO and web design agency here in the Philippines, as well as a virtual assistant agency in the Philippines. And like I said, I live here. Our office is literally attached to our house. We have a 2-story office and we have over 80 staff. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you're not in the Rank Fortress Academy, please go join it. We're just trying to make an impact and help people. This is the website, rankfortress.com. If you want to learn how to join, you just simply go over here to the right-hand side and click Join the Rank Fortress Academy. Click Join the Rank Fortress Academy. And inside the Academy, you'll see in the classroom where we have all these different courses. Right now, I have a junk removal SEO course, a virtual assistant mastery course, and a white label SEO mastery course. We also are going to be teaching Go High Level, graphic design, video editing, web design, local SEO. We're going to be going over tools, etc. A lot of value that we're going to be dropping. It's not just going to be me teaching. Also, many times I'm going to have my own staff come in there and teach. I know it's pretty wild, but we're helping them and they're helping you. We're trying to make an impact on not just the Philippines, but also just around the world and make agency owners and other virtual assistants' lives much easier, because we have a lot of people that come to us and be like, for example, just got off a call with somebody that was like, I need to train virtual assistants. I have a lot of them, but I need help in this area, local SEO, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, whatever it may be. We do that. And I'm going to share with y'all as well. For example, some people will say, well, what type of tasks can they do? If you don't have the spreadsheet, comment below and I will give you the spreadsheet. Okay, guys, I'm here, like I said, to help. These are all the services we cover. Everything from basic lead generation, on-page SEO, off-page SEO, branding, and so much more. Also, if you don't have my ebook, it is a full almost 250, 300 page book on virtual assistants. Go to rankfortress.com, click resources, then virtual assistants. And I go over in this book how to find, hire, and manage virtual assistants. Just come here and click download free ebook. Or if you want to know about white label SEO, I also have that ebook there. Yes, I've written these up. Yes, they're about 300 pages. They're full-fledged books, and they're also available on Amazon if you wanted to pay for it. But I just tell you, go over and download it for free. All right, so do that for me. Learn as much as you can. We're here to help you guys. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. In today's module, like I said, we're going to be going over common myths and misconceptions about virtual assistants or hiring in other countries, because sometimes I know people are like, well, can you trust them? So in these past few courses, this is module 1, which is just an introduction to virtual assistants and outsourcing. What's the difference between virtual assistants and outsourcing? Because outsourcing and virtual assistants, it doesn't mean the same thing. You can outsource a white label provider like Rank Fortress, or you can have your own virtual assistants, or you can hire a virtual assistant agency like myself that does managed VAs, so you don't have to deal with a headache of hiring or finding, hiring, and then managing them. All right, this is Rika. She's actually my assistant project manager, one of them. And so far what we've went over in the previous courses was lesson 1. One was, what is a virtual assistant? Yes, I know it kind of sounds redundant, but I've actually had people ask me, hey, isn't that like AI tools or something? And the answer is no. It's an actual human being. It's an actual living, breathing human being, and that does work for you remotely in another country, usually, or city or state. Number two, we went over why hire a VA from the Philippines, about the cultural differences and everything. I actually live here, lived here for almost 6 years, so I know a little bit about the culture. Number three, we went over cost savings and business growth. And today we're going to be going over common myths about hiring offshore virtual assistants. So meet Queenie. She's my web dev girl. She's the leader. She's the team leader. She's amazing. So offshore virtual assistants are transforming businesses worldwide. This is not just for agencies. This is not for just digital marketing. This is for regular, small, medium, and large size businesses, right? But the thing is, some business owners are hesitant when they first hear about, hey, you offer virtual assistants. Sometimes they think it's a scam, something. So they think, someone's going to rob them or steal from them or do something in a, if you will, disingenuous way, right? And in this presentation, I'm going to go over those myths and talk about the real benefits of hiring virtual assistants. So myth number one, offshore virtual assistants or VAs are not skilled. The reality is most and many offshore VAs are highly educated and skilled professionals. For example, in the Philippines, they really push to go to school. When I say go to school, not just, kindergarten, elementary and high school. I'm talking about college. So like our staff, for example, many of them are IT 4-year graduates or 4-year graduates with criminology, which means they're higher educated. They expect over here in the Philippines, unfortunately for them, higher education and lower pay. Like I know in the States, we usually go, well, let's go to a 4-year or 8-year college, and it'd be like higher pay means, higher grades and higher, if you will, education means you get higher pay a lot of times. Not so over here. Higher education is still low pay. Number three, they undergo training in administrative work, customer service. Many of them have degrees in IT, business, marketing, and a lot more. Right? When they're in their schools and colleges, they're actually doing hands-on administrative and customer service and specialized tasks already. Many virtual assistants have years of experience working with international clients. Like most of our staff has been with us for 2+ years, some of them 1 year or less. So don't let this myth hold you back that, VA countries like the Philippines and India doesn't produce competent workers. That's simply not true. Hiring offshore does not mean you're compromising skills. If anything, it gives you a availability more to hire skill-based workers. Why do I say that? It's because if you're in, let's say, Orlando, Florida, and you need to hire 10 people that have a certain skill set, and I know this because I used to do it. I used to do actually posting jobs and filtering through the applicants and then bring them in, doing the interview process, because I worked hand in hand. Besides marketing, we also did some of the HR, right? I facilitated that for my boss. And what it generally means, you want to putting that ad out and you get hundreds of applicants, and you may only find 2 people that actually are skilled. Whereas if I put an application out over here for a remote virtual assistant or remote worker, I'm not just going to get hundreds of applicants. I'm going to get dozens of people that are actually skilled and have the experience, and I can hire that day. Myth number 2, language barriers make communication difficult. That's true in a sense, but not true for the Philippines. Many offshore virtual assistants are actually fluent in English and have strong communication skills. For example, the Philippines has a 90% English literacy rate. And besides Tagalog, English is like a second language to the Philippines. Many offshore virtual assistants have customer service experience ensuring clear communication. Like if you've ever used Comcast or Xfinity or any telephone network in the United States, I remember when I first got married to my wife, I'd call them up and you'd hear them. soon as I heard them after being one wife, I said, "What country? You're from the Philippines, aren't you?" Because I could tell immediately because they're always happy. It seems like for the most part, they're very customer service, very service orientated people. And they want to make other people happy. Many offshore VAs, besides that, will be very familiar with tools that you're going to need them to use, like Slack and Zoom, email communication, QuickBooks, and a bunch of other tools, a whole plethora. All right, a well-trained virtual assistant can understand and adapt to your communication. Now, what does that mean? Think of it this way. If normally you're in a brick and mortar business and I see all my staff and I got 80 something staff or 10 staff, they get to know you. They know what type of coffee you drink, what type of food you like. Do you like it loud? Do you like music playing whenever you're working, stuff of that nature? Or do you not? With a virtual assistant, they're not going to know that. So a lot of times they're going to have to adapt to you and they get to know you. As they get to know you, they'll know what you expect. So that's one point that they'll actually have to take some time to get to know you and stuff. But the key there is they will adapt to the way you like to work. All right. Whereas a lot of times when an employee comes in and they're actually an employee working in a brick and mortar, they don't really want to adapt. They're kind of their own person. Myth number 3 is that offshore virtual assistants are unreliable. The reality is it all depends on your hiring process, right? Your training or onboarding process. It depends on, are you hiring the right VA just like you would with an employee? So an offshore VA is no more unreliable than an employee. It all depends on how are you hiring? What's your onboarding process? What's your training process? Are you hiring someone and then throwing them to the sharks? Are you hiring someone and having an onboarding process and orientation and then training them, or no training them and then you just let them be? Right? Are you talking to them? You say, "Hey, good morning." Do you message them? Many VAs work full-time for international clients and as such are very, very professional. I have many times where it's time to clock out and they're not even clocking out. They're just hanging out talking and saying, "Hey boss, hey sir, hey ma'am," and they're always saying good morning. And this, they're highly professional and they like pleasing their bosses or someone they look up to. And I even tell them, "Don't look at me as a boss. I'm more like a mentor and a coach, and we run like a family here." So set clear expectations and use tracking tools which will ensure accountability. Like you can use Time Doctor and a bunch of other tools. We actually use Proof Hub for our virtual assistants clients. We also use tools like Slack, Zoom, and Google Meet, but for accountability, we'll use Proof Hub. Hiring from reputable platforms. I would tell you to hire from someone like me if you want a VA that's managed, and I do all the training and I manage them. I give them office space. We have a generator, we have Wi-Fi, we have the whole, office set up with the top of the line computers and everything. So, or you go try to find someone on Upwork and online jobs, just the way you would an employee in your own city. And you will find very good VAs, but you have to go through, just like I said earlier, you have to go through a good hiring process. If your hiring and onboarding and training process is not good, neither will the virtual assistant you hire are going to be good. It's all based on you. Many times people come to me and they'll be like, "Well, I want an A player VA." Well, my thing is this: are you an A player boss? Are you an A player husband? Are you an A player, son or not? Yet you expect these people to be A players. You can't have it both ways, buddy. So, how is your hiring process and how do you find people? You need to dial that in if you're going to go looking for remote workers online without them being managed with someone like me at rankfortress.com. And I know many of you be like, well, how do I hire someone with you? Let me show you. So if you went over here to our website, at rankfortress.com, for example, this is Lynn. Lynn's been with me for almost 6 years. That's my beautiful wife. This is most of her team, not all of them, because we got to update the photo too. So, but nevertheless, if you go over here where it says virtual assistants, you click on here, and this is just some of our virtual assistants, right? And then you scroll down here and you can see all the different types of virtual assistants we have. Video editor, off-page SEO, go high level, data entry, bookkeeping, Google ads, Facebook ads, branding, social media management, e-commerce. The list goes on and on and on. Or book a call with me where it says speak to William, and we'll go over your needs. And then that way you can make a better decision on what you actually need and what we can take off your plate and make your life a lot easier. Myth number 4, time zone differences make collaboration impossible. I would say it's actually an advantage. And here's why. You can actually run your business 24/7. You pretty much can be working, have one set of people working during the day, one set working at night, which will be your nighttime, but it'd be our daytime. So many VAs will also adjust their schedule to your time zone. In other words, they'll work during your hours. 24/7 business support, virtual assistants in different time zones allow around-the-clock productivity. And therefore, you can also have flexible shifts. You can hire virtual assistants who can work during your preferred hours. With us at Rank Fortress, we only work from 9 to 5 Filipino time, only because mainly the tasks that we're doing are generally going to be tasks in the digital marketing space. And as such, you really don't need them to be working during your time. If you need them working during your time, like phone or lead generation, we can also discuss that as well, because we have solutions for that. Myth number 5 is going to be offshore virtual assistants can compromise data security. Honestly, that's probably one of the big ones we get, but it's another BS. It's a bullshit excuse, right? You're not going to compromise your data security any more with an offshore or remote worker than you will in-house staff. It's like saying, because I hire someone and they're remote, they work with me in the office, they'll never steal from me. And we all know that is simply not true. Study statistics, it's not true whatsoever. Security risks need to be mitigated, and you do that, but they exist in all workplaces. You got to mitigate them and take precautions. You don't just, I'm not going to hire nobody because they might steal from me. That's stupid. They might, do something they shouldn't. You're not going to ever hire anybody if that's what you do. You can use non-disclosure agreements and contracts that will kind of curtail it. All right. Implement password management tools like LastPass or 1Password, or change your password every so many months or so many weeks. We also will do security sweeps as well through all computers once a month. Restrict access to sensitive data using role-based permissions. In other words, don't give them access to everything, like how much are you making and your books and stuff like that. A lot of times, if it's something like, I don't ever give someone admin rights when it's a Facebook page or Google. You want to give them just the rights that they need to do what they need to do when the said task. Work with VAs who have verified work history and references. Just like you'd want to do with an employee, you want to work with people that have a verified work history. Just because someone puts it on the resume does not mean it's true. You don't know how many times I've dealt with people, that will actually say they have history. They say they have a good work history. This is when I used to do hiring in the United States, right? What they do, they'll lie on their resume. They ask them and say, just please, can I just have a chance to work here? And the hospital we were at, or the facility, medical facility I was doing this at, and say no. I mean, why did you put it on a resume if you lied? But so many people will do that, or at least they'll fluff it up a bit. Which basically you're lying. You're lying, man. Just tell the truth on your resumes, but always verify them. Actually call the place. Actually go by and see, hey, did they actually do a good job? Actually call up some of their clients if you can do that. With the right security measures, working with offshores, no more, if you will, a security issue than working with in-house employees. Myth number 6 is training an offshore VA takes too much time. While training a VA, I would tell you, is an investment, it actually will pay off and make your business more efficient. You can also use someone like rainfortress.com, where all of our VAs are managed by myself. We have 4 total project managers, if you will, 2 project managers and 2 assistant project managers, and then we have 12 team leaders. So training a VA is an investment, but if you go with someone like me, you don't have to deal with the training aspect. I handle that. That's why people come to me. Even if it's something that we normally don't do, a task we're not used to, I'll get the SOP, I train myself on it, and then I train that specific VA on it. Many VAs already have experience and require minimum training. Regardless, wherever you hire them from, as long as you got a good hiring process, you can find many virtual assistants online that have a lot of experience. And when I say a lot, I mean anywhere from, not a lot, but you get them where they got 1 or 2 years. Then you got others 5 to 15 years. Now realize this, the more experience someone has, the higher their pay and higher expected pay is going to be. The other thing you need to do when it comes to training is make sure your standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are clear and are part of the onboarding process, which is part of the training process. Meaning, here's how I train. So if someone comes in, they don't have no experience, I will sit down with them and I personally will go through and train them. Here's how you do a technical SEO audit. I show it to them, make sure they understand it, ask them questions, and I immerse them in it. And then I have them do it in front of me. And then after that, give them some tips and everything. And then after that, once I know they have it, after a few days, I will then give them a test project. Not something they can screw up, but a test project to see if they understand the concepts. Not just do the work, but I want them to think. Okay, I want them to understand why, and that therefore they'll get it, and they won't have to ask you all the time, well, what about this and what about that? Then once they do the test project, I'll go over it with them. If they made any mistakes, I will correct those and have them redo it until they get it correct, and then proceed on, and then they can onboard and start actually dealing with clients. Tools like Loom and Trello and Asana will make your training and managing virtual assistants 1,000 times easier. Myth number 7 is going to be hiring an offshore VA means losing control over your business. It's just not true. Most people think, well, if I hire a VA, I'm not going to have no control. And it's like, do you actually really have control when you have an employee and you have a bunch of employees in your company? You think you have control. It's a illusion for the most part, right? The fact is, if you have the right management techniques and create the right culture in your company, you'll retain full control over your business, and that you won't have to worry about people stealing from you. You won't have to have all these thoughts of paranoia. Well, what if they do this or what if they do that, right? Task tracking tools like ClickUp and Notion or ProofHub or Monday provide visibility into the tasks that are being done. So I don't have to worry what's being done. I have still full control. I'm just not doing it. If you've never read the book about the 80-20 rule, you need to get it, because the reality is most business owners fail and can't scale because they spend 80% of their time in the business working in it instead of on it. As long as you're working in your business and you're still worried about the tasks being done and etc., you will never be able to grow. You need to take that time, the 20%, and concentrate on the things that actually help your bottom line or move the needle, like sales or marketing. Regular check-ins via Zoom with your staff or your remote VAs or Slack will help keep your communication open. Most of the time, relationships get screwed up, whether that's in a marriage, a friendship, a partnership, or staff, because the communication sucks and you're not constantly communicating and keeping that relationship going, right? Performance tracking ensures tasks are completed as expected. That's why we want to use a project management tool like ProofHub. And myth number 8, offshore VAs are only for small businesses. This is simply just not true. Companies of all sizes, from startups to large multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar companies, even hire virtual assistants. Most of them, as they got bigger and bigger, will actually then begin outsourcing in a much larger scale. There are many companies I know that have like 5,000 plus staff, and they're all virtual assistants. My goal, even with Rank Fortress, is we're working on having multiple locations, one in here where we're at in Surigao, another one in Cebu, another one in Davao, and another one in Manila. Okay, our goal is to do that. And so we're doing that. Why? Because there's such a great need of people outsourcing from places like Australia and the United States and the United Kingdom. Medium businesses use VAs for customer service and marketing and administrative tasks to make their life easier. Whereas large corporation will outsource an entire department, such as their call center. That's why call centers are so big in the Philippines. Myth number 9 is virtual assistants can only handle basic tasks. It's just not true. Virtual assistants are skilled in a variety of specialty tasks. And we'll go back to our little spreadsheet real quick. Let me show this to you guys. So for example, this is like our, lead generation, go high level, Facebook ads, Google ads, social media management, graphics, video editing, content creation, email marketing, branding, data entry, web design, e-commerce, virtual assistant, Google My Business, local SEO, off-page SEO, on-page SEO, executive virtual assistants. So does that seem like, they're not skilled? They have a lot of skills. So, right? It's not like you're going to hire someone off because they're a virtual assistant. They can only handle basic tasks. That's not true. You have tech VAs that handle website management, coding, and IT support. You have other ones that handle marketing and social media and SEO and content creation. You have financial virtual assistants that handle bookkeeping and invoicing and payroll. Then you also have customer support or call center handling emails, chats, and phone support. And the list honestly just goes on and on. There's not any niche, not any industry that does not use virtual assistants and cannot benefit from using virtual assistants. Myth number 10, hiring offshore virtual assistants is expensive. They're no more expensive than hiring an employee. In fact, an in-house employee is going to be more expensive. You're going to have FICA. You're going to have workers' comp. You're going to have a pension plan. You're going to have a health insurance plan. And none of that you're going to have to deal with when you have a virtual assistant. Hiring an offshore VA is significantly more cost-effective than in-house employees. For example, if you hired, let's say, a video editor in the United States, you got to pay them $45 an hour, whereas over here you might pay $15, might pay $5 an hour. It all depends. What's the skill set? You have no expenses for the office and rent and utilities and equipment. You could literally be completely remote. If you wanted to travel and go on vacation, you can do that. You have no need to pay for insurance, benefits, or paid leaves. Flexible pay per hour, or you can pay a VA on project. Some VAs want it project-based and some want per hour. We do ours per hour at Rank Fortress. So you can buy blocks of time. You can buy 160 hours, you can buy 20 hours, you can buy 80 hours, 40 hours, whatever it is you want. You can do it. Most companies save over 78% just on labor costs by outsourcing to offshore virtual assistants. So in summary, the truth about hiring offshore is hiring an offshore virtual assistant can revolutionize and change your business as long as it's done properly. They're highly skilled, they're highly effective with communication, and honestly, they're some of the most reliable workers you'll ever find. The time zone is not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. It literally allows you to be productive for 24 hours, 7 days a week, many times. Data security, use non-disclosure agreements, and you have a scalable workforce, and you have the cost of savings. You know, the thing is, you got to make sure if you're going to hire on your own and not come through someone like Rank Fortress, where we do managed virtual assistants and we handle the hiring and the training and the onboarding and all that, and you're going to go out there and try to find virtual assistants on your own, yes, you're going to fuck up. Yes, you're going to have issues, just like you do if you hire a regular in-house employee. If you do not have your hiring process dialed in, you don't have your onboarding process dialed in and your training dialed in. But if you have your hiring dialed in and your onboarding and training dialed in, you can find a lot of good workers online and in groups on Facebook, but preferably don't do that. You go into Upwork and other websites like we mentioned in our video. Once again, if you don't have it, go to my website at rankfortress.com and get the ebook, because in that ebook, I'm going to show you again real quick. In this ebook, you go to rankfortress.com and click resources and download that virtual assistance ebook. And I go over, excuse me, download it, and I go over all of that. So how to find them, how to hire them, and how to train them. This guide right here will save you a lot of headaches. So if you want to hire a virtual assistant, don't want to manage it, then do it through our system right here. Or if you want a team of VAs, I have teams of VAs of 5 VAs for $10,000, which breaks down to basically $800 plus a month for a whole team of VAs. But if you ever have any questions, just go to rankfortress.com, click speak to William, book a call. I'll gladly get on your call. I'm here to help you. I want to help you make an impact on your business and in your family and in your life and in your community. So thank you guys for coming here. Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below, as well as hit me up on Facebook or hit me up and book a call, and I will help you out. You have a great day and be blessed. Love you guys.